Hey Kush, how's it going?
All good. Thank you for having me through.
Yeah, well, look, welcome to RASA. Last night was fun at community night. Usually we do it during the night, but there was a big show with strange weather. We had our busiest outing with community night, so thanks for being part of that.
Yeah, no problem, no problem.
And yeah, I guess we've got to know each other over the last few years, from you showing up to our tiny first studio to now. I guess there's been a lot of things we've been either talking about or, a few times when you've been over here, we've caught up. But yeah, like, how's this trip been for you?
So this trip specifically, it's my longest time in Asia. Like I wanted to spend more time out here. I have my girlfriend out here, and it's been good because I've been able to like get away from, kind of like a lot of chaos and stuff at home. And I've been making a lot more music and just been writing a lot more music, but in a way that I've been challenging myself to use different techniques, like new techniques. So I've been able to focus, spend time with my girlfriend. I play a lot of basketball while I'm here, so
Nice.
a lot of good food. But yeah, it's been good for my mind and my body, more so. And yeah, I got a chance to like play a few new places, like Indonesia. I made it out, and yeah, it's just been good. Like just kind of like refocus before I head back and have to tour a bit in the States.
And how's life on the road? Because, I don't know, for me, I can't really live out of a suitcase too well, but it sounds like you enjoy it. So, like, how does that work for you?
It's easy enough. It does get like lonely, but it's good to remain rooted in your people. So whether it's like family, or my friends, like the people that I check in with all the time on the music front, it does get lonely. But the only thing that I would say, I like when I could just pack one suitcase. This trip's been kind of weird because like the weather here is warm. And then I went over to Seoul, and it's cold this season. So
Right.
I went Indonesia to Seoul. So one day I'm going from like 80-degree weather to, it's like snowing. So that's the only thing that really throws me off. But I've been at it for a long time, so it's easy enough now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's what I find really interesting about our conversations is that you're one of the few DJs that I know, I guess from anywhere, whether it's the US or from Europe, who kind of spends a lot of time in Asia, obviously for personal reasons, but I guess had a lot of gigs out here. So I know you get a lot of questions from your friends, from people in the industry, kind of like what's Asia like how do you get the tours, how do you get the gigs, but if there's someone who's kind of sat here kind of before you started coming out here, with all the knowledge and all the things that you've seen, like what's your kind of summary of Asia? Like what's your kind of, how you kind of, I guess kind of tell people about what to expect in Asia, or like what your experience has been so far?
So the first time I was invited out, it was actually, the club no longer exists, but I got the opportunity to play at Contact, and it was for Sustained Release Tokyo. It's a festival that goes on in New York. But I was invited by DJ Healthy, and big shout out to him because for the longest time, a lot of the music I made early on, like footwork and juke, there's a super big community for that globally, but specifically Japan. And I always felt inspired outside of Chicago because the music starts with Chicago. But I always felt inspired by Japan because that was like the first place I've seen outside of Chicago footwork that really pushed the music as well as the dance, because footwork is dance music.
Yeah.
And from my initial time being invited out to play, a lot of those people that I knew from the online community came out to see me DJ, and they came through and they danced. And what I would say is my initial time coming out to Asia is just a lot of like community, but then also a deep appreciation for the music. So while people come and see you and support you, they also understand that the music is bigger than the one individual they're coming to see. So there's a lot of emphasis on collection of music, just curation of scenes, and a lot of knowledge gets passed down, whether it's like making the music, DJing, and that's something that I noticed. It goes on everywhere, but it's like very focused in Asia. There's a lot of like mentorship, I would say.
Nice. And just in terms of the like the spread is like you were saying just now, like the spread in terms of countries, cultures, temperatures, like how do you think that kind of drives those individual scenes from what you've experienced?
Well, I just know for any place you go to, there's always I always like to think music, it overlaps with like food, it overlaps with like the people, like the history of the place. And for me, I would say like so I like blanked out on the question. So ask me once more.
Yeah, no worries. How do the cultures of those individual scenes, those individual countries, like how do you think it contributes to whether it's the music, the people, like the overall vibe there?
Oh, sorry. So, I mean, many ways. Like the most simplest one, there's music that existed prior to like what we're doing now. So, easiest one for me, you got like jazz, and jazz has like a lot of different counts and a lot of like mathematically, it's like one of the more complex sounds. And then you fast forward to today, where you have you got like house techno, like those lanes, and then some of the instrumentation, like I always like Drexia, because like those tracks the instruments were bright and lush and they were all over the place. Sometimes the counts weren't on the one. And when you talk about like culture with music, I would say the biggest one would just be music that came prior. Some places have instruments more native to like the area. I know in Asia I get like a lot of wind instruments, a lot of flutes. And you take it over to New York, you got like drums, like hip hop, boom bap drums. It really just depends on culture wise, like who you're speaking to. Some people have a different answer, but yeah, I would say for me it's sonically. The first thing I go to is like what music existed here before me.
Yeah.
And then usually you get on a deep dive and you'll find all this different stuff that inspires like what's happening today.
Yeah, super interesting. And any particular highlights for this trip for you?
For this trip, I found it interesting. Like, there's a lot more. Cause for me, I always one of my favorites is like Soichi Terada, and I was always fascinated by him because I got to see him play more times in the past couple years. I was always fascinated by him because it's like a lot of house music he would make, but then he made like jungle and just a lot of video game music that I enjoyed. And one thing I noticed that's translating over, like, cause this is like from the 90s I'm talking about. You fast forward to today, I can pretty much go to any country out this way in Asia, and they have a scene for a particular music. So it's like you have house and techno, but then you got jungle, you got UKG, grime. It's like big hip hop communities. So I always found that interesting when it comes to, that's something I'm noticing now, more so the UKG and the bass music. There's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, super interesting. And I guess when I see the music that you and your friends are playing, particularly on Lot, I guess like it seems like all molded together. Like when me and my friends were coming up, like in early 2000s, it was you were either into the slower end of like let's say minimal techno, which is like what, like I don't know, 120s that kind of thing, or you were into garage and dubstep, which is like 140, and then there was jungle. Like it was very separate. Like how do you describe kind of what you guys play? Because for me, it just all blends into one. And I find it really interesting. but like, how does it got to that point for you guys?
I mean, I guess I'll explain for me and then for the show itself and whenever I DJ with friends. But like I always grew up like listening to music, and I used to think of it in sounds and pockets, like genre. And then once I started DJing, I started paying attention to the speed of music and BPM. But then the most interesting thing was, for me at least, Chicago music, like Chicago house. I noticed that a lot of the tracks, house music would sit, anywhere 120 to like 130, 135. But then I noticed like classic Chicago house tracks, a lot of DJs would play them faster. And then you can go into this whole thing about how Chicago house, then you kind of got like ghetto house that was like, the tracks were played faster. They were saying crazy lyrics on the top. And then from ghetto house, you move over to juke, and juke is even faster. And then juke turns into footwork. I never really paid attention to, I guess, like genre and speed. It's more so rhythm and flow. So it's like, if we get a bunch of 140 records, like if someone's playing techno, but then they have a grime collection or dubstep, all those sounds kind of sit in the same pocket. And, you have a mixer, and it's like you have all these channels. Now you can take the low end from the 140 dubstep, but then keep the percussion and the drive of the techno track. It's never really about like genre for me. It's more so, and my friends understand that too. It's like we really just, if it sits, it fits.
Yeah.
When we step up to play, and just keep the music interesting. Like it doesn't have to be, if you want to come through and we're all like playing like the same vibe in the same realm, but it's just keeping it interesting and saying, okay, curveball. But it's not a curveball in the sense of throwing everything off. It's like it still has a flow and a groove.
Yep.
So I just say keep it there if you're gonna do like the mixed genres or the mixed tempo.
And do you think that's like a product of the times now? Like, because now is where you can like take a step back and see like all this music history, or is it like some of the things like the CDJs that are driving it? Because I guess when I was trying to like mix some of this stuff a while ago, I had to get those vinyl decks with like plus minus 16.
Mm-hmm.
But now obviously with CDJs you can like really mix it in. Is that how you see it, that you're mixing lots of old tracks together and it's all the tech, or is it the fact that you guys are inspired by this and you're just making it and it all kind of fits a lot better?
Well, I mean, it's a bit of both. So it's like you have the tech that allows you to do things that the turntable, like belt drive turntable, it won't play fast enough to get you up to that tempo. So that's part of it, the tech. Another thing I noticed, like just when you go to DJ some rooms or some crowds, the attention span is so low, it's so quick, and it's like that's when you DJ is like when you're playing for a crowd, the attention span is so low. So it's like, do you want to keep it to one vibe all night? Yep. Do you want to like switch it up? And for radio, it's like we're just having fun. So it's like the one show that inspired me. I got a chance to like do Rinse residencies. A lot of the radio DJs on Rinse, you'll get shows that are specifically grime. And then sometimes you'll get shows that's like, okay, we're going to do a bit of UK funky. Some do house. The show that got me inspired to do like the kind of mixed genre, everything flowing, was Lucky Me show. So I used to listen to that a lot, and they played some of my early music on there. But when it comes down to it, it's like, what is it that you're trying to achieve? So if you're playing a track that it has like drive and it's like running, but the other track is not as hard, but that vocal says something that you want to like loop up, you can like hit the CDJ and loop up the vocal. Then you can like take, if you got 4 decks, you can take the vocal from here, you could take the low end from here, percussion from over here. So it's like tech allows us to do that, but you also have to have the idea in your head, like when you step to play. That would be my thought on it.
Nice. And we're obviously at RASA. We did community night last night. We like this particular chat is very aligned to like how we're trying to build community night. Like I thought the vibe last night was super fun. It was great.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah.
was great to see you and Spencer playing.
Yeah, it was
end.
cool.
And yeah, great to see kind of Bell getting involved and people like Brian. So for us, like one of our main pillars is like love the community. So yeah, what does that mean to you?
So love the community. I would say if something exists before you and, you know, you find yourself working with them or wanting to be a part of that, then you learn and understand who's involved and you make it known like, hey, I appreciate what you do. Because a lot of times communities don't get, like, people will utilize the community or utilize the functions and they never really tell people like, hey, like we love what you do, thank you for that. So it's one of those things where you have to show love in that sense of like this was happening before we went on. And if it doesn't make sense to you, think about it. If you started something and you know you're out here trying to get on your feet and you want to build something for others, it's just easier to go about it when you have people supporting you and showing love, saying like, thank you for doing that. Or, hey, like, I like what you have right now, but I think I have something that can contribute and help it grow. And yeah, like when it comes to like a word like love, like you want that love, that passion, that thing to grow. You want like everyone to grow with it. So, I mean, for starters, it's like if you see something that's going good and you feel like you want to utilize it, the first thing you do, you make it known, like, hey, I would love to be involved. And you find your way. You find like how you can help it build. I think the biggest form of love is like helping someone else or something grow. Because now that's an extension outside of you, you know? So, yeah, love the community. You just have to treat it well and respect the functions that it provides. I always say if you find yourself using a lot, try to be a giver, but also don't burn yourself out.
Yeah, totally. And I guess that reminds me a little bit like how we met. Like, you know, truth be told, I didn't really know you as a producer or as a DJ. We had just done this crazy project of like starting the first studio. We only just started getting, I think Nez came upstairs one day from Cult and just said, oh, can we do nights here? I'm a promoter. I'm like, yeah, cool, no problem, bring your mates. And then we were just very paranoid about like, keep it 27 people, like can't have any more people than that because we didn't know how many people we can have in the room.
Right.
Because it was tiny, as you know. But that was really like, I don't know, like, for me, you didn't need to do that, right? Like, you didn't really know, like, you already played a show with them. There's a tiny little room. It was very, like, intimate setting. You had to get to know people really well. So, like, help me understand, like, your relationship with those guys and, like, what your thought process was coming into that room. 'Cause that was, like, a very community space.
Right. I mean, for me, like, it goes back to, like, when I first started DJing, especially in a city like New York. It's big, and it's like you have a lot of people that have space, but then it's like you try to get involved, and it's kind of like, oh, well, we don't know. Or so my thing was the fact that I was even approached with the opportunity, but then being able to be told like, yeah, come through, like it's no problem. And anytime somebody invites me through, it's like I know nothing is owed to me. Like I really do approach it as I move and do my work and build upon it how I do. And if someone like wants me involved, so I was like step A, just having the space and, you know, being asked and invited. And then, yeah, it's like, I think for me, when it comes to spaces like that, like no issue really meeting new people. And I think of like the first clubs that I played, like people like, oh, I only play like super big club or like medium size. I'm like, I remember years ago, I used to DJ on an APC 20 and it was APC 20 in Ableton. I used to play the clips out of Ableton, but I was doing this at a friend who had speakers set up at a house party.
Right.
So it's like same vibe. And this was before, you know, touring and like putting out a ton of music, and it was just like a way to get out and just like play music. And oddly enough, people were like, "Oh yeah, we want to have you come through and play. We will love that." And because my thing is, I never work for free. I always tell people like I don't like playing for free, and you know, I've made anywhere from $0 to like a few thousand to play.
Yeah.
I always tell people don't do it for free. But if someone has something cool and they invite you through to play, you make the most of it. You also find ways to say, okay, well, I think this is cool. Here's a way that I think it could benefit both of us. And then you grow the thing that way. You know, down the line, you don't have to have the smaller space. It can grow into a bigger space, or, you know, you can have access to bigger spaces to play. But yeah, like anytime it's like a kickback or like a community type thing, I always think of the first places that I played for free. And that was like first part of my career, just getting outside and playing in front of people. But then even today, it's like I still enjoy DJing for people, like whether it's bringing music I made or I find some stuff that I'm like very excited about, I want to share. And yeah, it's just providing the space for it.
Yeah, super cool. And look, I think definitely for us, when you came through, we started posting about it. People couldn't believe that you showed up and we just hung out. So I thought it was really cool. It really kind of made us stand up and go, oh, maybe this could be something bigger. It definitely provided a nice space for almost like Nez and the Revision crew to have like a party for the homies. I think that that's always, excuse me, super important. One sec. Right, I think I'm good.
Cool.
Right, so let's just cut. So, yeah, I thought that party with Nez and all the homies was great. What I say to people, and this is just my experience of either being a promoter, providing spaces for promoters, or just doing things as a fan, I think that it's really weird. The people that most love the music are the ones that, I don't know, like try and bring their favorite DJs over, the ones taking risks, putting nights on. You know, I think of all my friends, but like, let's say, particularly Nez, Tasha, Super Enjoy guys, like all those kind of promoters that are, you know, doing stuff with their mates, but also trying to bring bigger artists from overseas. I always kind of make sure that they have fun. Like I try and message them on the day, like don't forget to have fun. Like hope it's all going well. Like, because I don't know, like at the same time, you're usually bringing over an artist that is not like super mainstream. You're bringing over someone that you love at the same time, because it's not like a massive artist like we have Black Coffee recently. You've got a different set of pressures. You've got to fill a room with 250 people, but maybe you can only get 100 mates. So like it's always this stress, I think. So I always find it quite ironic that the people who love the music the most may not on the night have the best time, because they're stressing about door tickets, they're stressing about other things. So I love to see those kind of, at least in the Pearl that we've just been in,
Right.
that those people get to have a party, whether it's the after party or whether it's another party another day. I think that those kind of rooms of like 30, 60 people where it's all your mates, a bit more relaxed, less on the line, are super important. So, and I think I saw that a little bit more at the night that we did. It helped me understand like some of these community spaces that you've been a part of that have grown. Like I've seen like Lot grow, but you know I'm not so familiar with some of the spaces that you've been part of in the US or wherever it is. Like help me understand a bit more about those.
I mean, for me, like, I'm not in anything like necessarily branded, or I would say the Lot Radio is an important one, just because they have infrastructure and space. And even Lot Radio, at one point, that was one where I was like, how do I play here? And went through entire ups and downs. Maybe after this, I'll show you the first email, because I had to write a pitch to pitch to play at the Lot. And, you know, I kind of was just like, I never heard of that. Like, why pitch? Like, I just come and play the music, and it's cool. Like, y'all are filming, and it's a platform.
Yeah.
And Yeah, I had done radio for other spots by this point. Like, been on Rinse FM a few times, and then yeah, just like internet radio, I played tons of it. So I kind of was like, what's going on, and I just had to push until they finally were like, oh yeah, we'll give you a spot, and I'm like, no, I want a regular show, and then they were like, okay, we'll give you a regular jam, but that was one. Half Moon BK, that's another radio that I was a part of, and played parties for them. A lot of like workshops and different stuff would go on. But I would say like for these spaces, it's like very important to just provide access and make it where it's like you feel like you have a place to be. And I think like as far as a party that like at the Pearl, it's like the fact that you even have that space. I think for me, it's like anytime I'm invited to those kind of things, I'm just like I have to make the most of it. And the more that I can make it appealing to others, or if I let people know I had a good time, or if I let people know I didn't have a good time, I wasn't feeling it. I think it's very important to be honest in that way. That way, the people that put things on can understand better like how to make things work for artists or people that want to utilize it. Or I think it's just like when you provide these spaces, it's important to just say, we're going to provide accessibility to those who reach out, and just make it where it's beneficial for the person utilizing. I don't know if that answers the question. I kind of got like lost on thought.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess also I just remembered that I was like really stressing out before you came because Nez was like, oh, we just did this big show and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, do you want to record the set? And I was like, I don't really know how to record. I was trying to download drivers from my laptop, trying to connect this Pioneer mixer. I didn't really know what I was doing. I still don't to a certain extent. And then when you came in the room, you're like, yeah, I didn't really want to record. Can we just have fun? And I was like, that's so refreshing. And actually, I was like, yeah, that's actually what I want to do. I don't like it was so. Actually, that night was so cool because it was so far away from where we were technically to be able to record radio or do any of that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I worked in like, so I did AV for venues and stuff, and I kind of like got that vibe when I came in. So I was like, at work, I could say whatever because they closed up. I used to work at this spot in Brooklyn called Villain, and shout out my man Silky Black. He the one that got me the job. But yeah, sometimes they would just be like, we need this hooked up. And I'm like, I don't know how to do that. And they were like, well, you got to learn. I'm like, I'm not doing it, bro. I'm not hooking that shit up because I don't want to mess it up. I want it. So if I go to a space and, like I like when gear is working. So like the sound has to be on point. Speaking of which, don't throw parties without subwoofers. That's the most disrespectful shit you can do.
Yes.
Especially if it's bass music, have a subwoofer. That's like crazy. But yeah, the gear has to be working. But if it's like an additional thing, like a streaming or a recording, I know content is very important for like a lot of clubs and artists. But if it's putting extra stress on the space, also we're in a small spot like Pearl, like the Wild Pearl joint. I was just like, yeah, it was a vibe. I didn't want it to be like, oh, we got to unplug and then rehook stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, just keep the vibe going. The music is the most important thing, as long as the people enjoying the music.
Yeah, also we got to meet. So that's where I got to meet so many different people. That's where I met Fizz, Jordan. Got to know Nez a lot better, and then that's where I met Jen, who's obviously a big part of radio since then. Other Jen, just so many people that night. It was so much fun. I think Daryl.
Oh yeah.
Had a funny moment where like. I think there was maybe only one DJ on before, and then we were like, come on, Daryl, like, and then suddenly there was like 6 DJs played that night. I thought it was so much fun. It was like a really cool night.
But I mean, that's like the fun stuff. It's like, we got a spot where we could run late, if you want to have your drink or whatever, play tunes. And it's like, I miss spaces like that where, Cause now everything is like, oh, we going to DJ, we gotta like get the USB loaded, and we gotta like play all the bangers, and we gotta like, it's a show, and I get excited when I just see people linking up, like during the pandemic, COVID, when it first hit 2020, it was amazing to see like people just turn on the camera in the crib. Sometimes there was no cameras on. It was just like, hey, this is happening. And you flip a switch, the decks are on, and you would get these incredible sessions, whether it be DJing or making music. I think it's better to just have those spontaneous moments of like, yeah, we just gonna link up and we're gonna do the thing, but we have the space to do it. And you know, you got like crazy stuff with like rent, and I get it. It's like people, you got to make money to stay open, but it's refreshing when you can just pull up and yeah, it's like we got a space where we could do this. Like we don't have to worry about how many drinks is getting sold, how many tickets is bought, and it's nice to be able to separate from that business model of like, how do we monetize everything? Like it's cool to just have a vibe.
Yeah, I know what you mean, and we're just about to go into like Pearl 3, which is going to be super fun, very different to before. I still think we have a small... I think Pearl 4 is going to be like a small private nightclub, but done right. I'm not going to get anyone excited. It's not going to happen this year.
I mean, you good because the fact that you even thinking of it, there's people that like have space and they don't even think about future or like down the line. So the fact that you even like I think a lot more programs, spaces, radio, whatever would benefit if they said down the line, like, how do we make this better for the people that utilize it? Because sometimes people are just content with like being open, which is like, I just have this thought, like anyone can open something. It's like staying open is when you see your 20 years, your 30-year anniversaries, it's like how do those spaces manage? But if you look at some of them, the core is like they have a core group of people that are able to adapt, change, reach out to the people, reach out to the OGs that helped them start, reach out to the contemporaries, the peers that are right next to them, and they're able to stay open-minded for like the future, like the new people coming up. So
yeah, totally. I think what that gets us onto is this kind of next pillar, which I really love, which is celebrate the culture. If we're talking about spaces, I've been seeing a lot of posts recently about plastic people, and so if I think about spaces that are in the culture, the plastic people was a huge inspiration for me. Went there a few times. It was kind of close to where I lived when I moved to London. Right. Just like, do you ever go?
I've never been plastic people. No.
Okay.
Haven't been.
But I guess, let's talk about kind of use that as a good reference point, like, because I think that spaces are in the culture. They do drive culture. So, like, do you have any favorite spots, like places that might not exist anymore, but kind of still exist in this kind of collective memory, or the way that it kind of drove change, or whatever it is for you?
I mean, I would say like more recently, and I don't know the current state. I mean, I read what I read. They said in New York City we have a club, Paragon, that's closing up.
Right.
And Paragon opened around the time, like shortly after the pandemic ended, and essentially it turned into this, like, it was kind of huge. Like a lot of people wanted to play there. I got the chance to play there a few times. A lot of the lineups were insane. Like, you know, but that spot, it was also owned by is owned by John, the homie John Barclay. But then he has another spot, Bossa, which is like, that's HQ. That's like our first. A lot of the first times I played out in New York, like for the crowds that I would play now, was at that space. And I would say, like, for me at least, like Paragon closing, announcing its closure, it's a bit sad because it came up in a time that we needed an additional space. small mid-sized venues started getting like shut out by these like bigger spaces in New York. And Paragon was a good medium because it was a club, but you could still do like super big shows in there. Like there was people that performed, so
Right.
you know, like a vocalist would come and perform. Had DJs upstairs, downstairs. So yeah, I think spaces like that, and it's a newer one. It's unfortunate, like it opened and then it's announcing it, and it announced its closure. I'm trying to think of like old New York. A lot of the stuff in LES, like a lot of clubs in Lower East Side. You go to them now, for the most part, they were like dive bars, but then they would have like you know, like shitty PA with turntables that probably worked, and then people started bringing their controllers and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of those are now like restaurants, like just new storefronts. I think a lot of those spaces drove the culture. Some still exist, like I believe the Delancey's still open. Actually, I could check, but yeah, like the Delancey is one. And trying to think of like another big one. There was a few in Brooklyn. Yeah, I'm like blanking out. It's a lot of like hip hop. A lot of places I would play like hip hop in those type of events, like where you would get like your first paid gig. You make like $200, $300.
Nice.
But those kind of spaces that really drove like what's going on now. It's like, hey, like come through. It's usually a promoter or the club that trusted somebody with a night,
Yeah.
and they would invite you to come and play. You make a couple $100, $200 DJing the set, but it was like how you would get your feet wet. I think we need more spaces like that because we're shifting into this thing of super big clubs. Everything has to be like, I don't even want to give them a shout on here because they got bought out, but everyone has to be like that thing that's filmed.
Yeah.
The big one that's filmed and usually has sponsors and stuff, and everyone's around you.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything is turning into that, and I think we need to get more spaces where it's like, you know, like come through and play some tracks. It's like new music or it's a obscure sound, but again, you have this other side of like rent is high in a lot of these big places, so it's like a lot of these big cities. Rent is higher and there's no sign of slowing down.
Yeah.
And it's like, what do you do to grow with that like ridiculous rent price that's going up? So it's a bit frustrating, especially when you lose a place that understands that. And yeah, I would say we just need more options.
Right. And just keeping on this kind of culture piece, we were talking the other day about Brazil and about that culture and like all the energy there. So like that for me feels like a super interesting scene. I've got no visibility on it. So, you know, anyone that's sat there at home, like talk to us about, you know, this scene, the conversations you're having with people, like what's different, what's similar.
I would say with Brazil, like the music that. Well, let me start from the beginning. First time I was invited to Brazil, it was Tijolo Records. Shout out to them. They threw an amazing party. But they invited me, and the way that I learned was, you know, I got an email. I said, okay, cool. Like, just holler at me about it. I'll come and play. And for me, Brazil, all I was able to tell you at one point, a lot of the music was sampled. Like as a kid growing up, it's like somewhere on a hard drive, but like beat tapes. But it's like little beats of me sampling like Marcos Valle and Arthur Veracai, which I got to see him perform live a couple years ago. First time he performed in America. He did like a small American tour, but yeah, it's just like that was my first thing of like Brazilian music, like understanding, and then I knew like samba and capoeira, like the dance, kind of like fighting style, but dance. And yeah, I get an email, and it's like, yo, would you like to come out? I'm being invited. And I'm like, okay, cool. I started listening to the label, Tijolo, and they got breaks. They got like techno. They got jungle. And I'm like, damn, this is crazy. Like all this music coming out of like Brazil. And then at the time, like I'm listening, and I was like, let me just do a deeper dive. Then I find like Baye Funk. I'm like, yo, this shit is crazy. This is like freestyle. They're sampling like freestyle music, like from the 80s, 90s.
Right.
But then they're like putting their sound on it. It's like overdriven bass, crazy sounds. And I'm like, nah, they know music. Like they know music. They have their own style. They're making like Jersey Club, all these different sounds, but it's their way and it's like their taste on it. And so off rip, I'm like, yo, this is gonna be cool because I like what they're making, and they invited me to play. I said I'm down, and then it doesn't make sense until I actually get there. But I'm like meeting people, and they're like, yo, I love this is one footwork record I made. They're making footwork out there as well, but called Grateful, and yeah, they're like, yo, this record is like, I like to this day, that's a record that I don't really get paid for. Again, like this is what, probably a decade. We almost coming up on a decade of that tape being out. Yeah, because we in 2025. Yeah, I think it's a decade old.
Oh, wow.
So I don't really get paid from that record. A lot of people tell me it inspires them. There was like, it's a great project. It's called Sleep PP. Yeah, I don't want to say anything that's going to actually no. Like, okay, the label that put the record out, like I had to like harass them to get royalties for it.
Right.
It's not okay. It's actually quite annoying. This is on the record. I would like my royalties.
Yes, please.
Go through and look. You can piece it together. But they were telling me out there in Brazil, like, yo, I love this record, like the sample, and then one of the records on there actually is a Marcos Valle sample. Yeah, one of the tracks on the record. But yeah, they were like, yo, this is cool music. Like, it's unique, it's interesting. And I'm listening to what they're making. I'm like, yo, this is cool. Like, this is dope. And we would exchange music. I buy up a lot of their productions because it's always, for me, I always like going out to DJ music that I know no one around me on that lineup. And then if I happen to play a song and someone's like, yo, like I just found out about them too. I'm like, I love that. Like, we can talk about that. And it's like, yo, what is Brazil like? I was like, I went to go visit, had an amazing time. Here's some crews to check out. But yeah, Tijolo and Mama Negra, that's the other one. And yeah, I would get video from RP Boo played a party for Mama Negra. And there was this song me and Swisher made called Torcida. It's like crazy percussion and drums on it. It's a footwork track. But he played it, and he has this whistle. Like, anytime the drop comes in, he like blows the whistle. The crowd went insane. Wow. But yeah, he sent me this video. I watch it, and yeah, it just reminds me like music can reach anywhere, and people can hear it, and then it inspires them to do something. But yeah, with Brazil, it's like the music that is made out there is incredible. A lot of talented DJs, all styles. Like, you can get hip hop, you can get jungle drum and bass, you can get like house, techno. There's DJs that come through and they just like, I want to play dance hall, like just reggae all night. I went to a party in the favela, and it was my friend Ronnie. He goes by RHR. Okay. He invited me to the favela, and if you listen to what Ronnie makes, it's like, he can quite literally make anything. He's like one of the engineer for everybody in Sao Paulo.
Oh, wow.
So he actually, Brazil, he engineers a lot of music for a lot of people, as well as his own projects. But yeah, he invited me. He's like, yo, we're gonna go to the favela. I said, yo, am I gonna be cool? He's like, yeah, you with me. He's like, we cool, bro. And we go, and he's playing dance hall, and I'm like, okay, it's a vibe. But then shout out MC Lay. It was his party, but MCs just start getting on the mic and they start like rapping, and I'm like, this is so cool because this literally goes on all over the world, and it's like, this is how they do it here.
Yeah.
So as far as like culture, like I said, music that exists in one place, it always makes its way over to another place, but the language, like just what's going on as far as like what's going on, like lay of the land they're gonna put their own touch and their own influence on it. So it was just cool to see. Yeah, I went out there, hip hop, grime. They was playing dance hall, a lot of MCs, a lot of dancing, just dancing in general. There's people footworking, like all these different pieces come from all globally. And then same way it's like Brazil. People only know them for Baile Funk, but I'm like, there's way more that they can do. And I think like that's for everywhere. Like just because you know a place for the music or like what you think of it, once you get there and you start speaking to the people and you see like just their take on, I don't want to ramble too much. I would say culture-wise, everyone is going to take influence from different places. It's just special when you see how a particular place that has like deep roots puts their spin on things.
Yeah. And just thinking about last night, like last night was a really fun vibe. Like, I know that I know you spend a lot of time here, and obviously there's a lot of people at this trip that you're connecting with, and we're trying to do some bigger projects together. Whether it's going to be here, whether it's some of the people you're meeting that are trying to like help make some of these bigger projects happen. But what's your take on like the culture in Singapore, like the music, what people are trying to push? Do you have your own take on what you're observing and what's happening here?
So from my time first coming here to now, I would say, and this might sound a bit messy, but it's like at one point I just thought like, why do they book like the same handful of DJs? It has gotten much better over time.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to see like whether it be like locally or local lineups with like international talent coming together, because I think that's the best way to grow things. Like whether you have to have the local scene, but then you also have to have like, your international DJs, and then you have to have the OGs. You have to have contemporary, like what's happening now. You have to have the people that's up next.
Yeah. And
And when you mix that, there's really no room to like fail. So I'm happy to see more of that going on now. That's not to like shade anyone. It's just something I noticed.
Yeah.
I would also say here in Singapore, it's always been like cool music. Like Darker Than Wax is a label. Prior to coming out here, like Darker Than Wax was like my first intro to Singapore without me even knowing it. I was like, yo, this is cool music coming out. And then I met up with like Marco in New York, and then Marcus when he was living in New York, and they just had a cool radio show at the Lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, these are dope shows. Like the music that they were playing really got me interested. But then yeah, I'm talking like Marcus, and he did a lot of community work, like building beats and stuff in the schools, like teaching kids like music, and then Marco, he's like, yeah, like he's the homie. We have this label called Darker Than Wax, and I started doing my homework, and I'm like, yo, this is tight, like, and I started like listening to some of the projects. Marco was explaining to me about like Singapore. Oddly enough, I met my girlfriend like around the time I started like chilling with him and speaking to him.
Wow.
And he was like, yeah, bro, you gotta come to Singapore sometime. Like, I think you would like it. And literally, as I'm getting ready to like prepare myself to like come out and fly out here, that's when like the world shut down with COVID and stuff. So yeah, naturally, it's like the first place I wanted to come to when things opened back up. I was like, I want to get to Singapore. And then the Contact show for Sustained Release, it kind of afforded that. So it was like, all right, I'll play in Japan, but I need to land in Singapore. Yeah. And they were like, no problem. So, but yeah, I would say like, yeah, that's my biggest takeaway from here. It's like, it's always been good music played here, coming from here. When I see the DJs here and I like listen to them play, like locals that are from Singapore, each one is a tastemaker, yeah, which I could respect. Like no one is really like, I'm just gonna play the same record this person's playing because it's cool. It's like each individual person I ask, they can tell me, I put this record in my bag for a reason. Or I put this I put this record on a USB for a reason. And that's why I have like a lot of respect for the DJs from Singapore that I know. If I don't know you yet, like I'm around, I'm here, reach out. But yeah, that's like my biggest takeaway. People here have an immense amount of respect for music. Like if I'm talking to the dubstep homie, if I'm talking to like the homie that makes like house, techno, also yeah, there's like so at least in the States, there's this thing now of like DJs have to make music, which I used to come from that school of thought. Like I think like as a DJ, you should have some level of like understanding a track, like how to make a track. No, actually, let me change what I'm saying. I used to be like, you must know how to make a track if you're gonna DJ. And then as I got older and like over time, I realized like, nah, some of my favorites didn't make tracks per se. They knew how music was constructed, and I think that's what I was trying to get at. I was like, I think if more people understood how music was constructed, then they would have a deeper appreciation, whether it be like physical mediums or like getting in the studio and like making something. The handful of people I talk to here about that in Singapore get that.
Yeah.
They understand like how things are made, how tracks are made, and it's just a deeper appreciation for the music.
Yeah, super interesting. And yeah, actually, Arun from Mixmag kind of made me realize that. He was like, that actually a lot of the DJs are kind of dig deep here.
Yeah, I'm gonna just tell you something very important. Mixmag is always 3 years late. I had that like shout to them for covering. Like I hope that they do more, but they always like 2-3 years late. To most things.
Nice. Okay. That I guess that helps us get onto the next segment, which is inspire the continuum. Actually, like so. For me, the continuum. Maybe people at home are going to be bored of this because they listened to a few episodes. For me, it comes from this music journalist, which is called Simon Reynolds. And the continuum for him was talking about this energy that comes at the forefront. So not 3 years late, but the forefront. Like
right.
This kind of experimental energy is where, like where maybe a genre hasn't quite got a name or like yet, or it's where like there's this energy around it that people are just going after. That's where the original continuum comes from me. But also, some people like biting off continuum and saying, look, this is kind of either the legacy that I want or the lineage that I come from, and like pay my respects to the people that inspired me. Like what does continuum mean to you? Like you're obviously, like for me, you're right in the middle of like what you're doing. You're not like a new DJ, but you're also not like one of these kind of legends that's retiring. Like you're right in the middle of kind of the action.
Yeah.
Like how do you absorb the word continuum?
I would say when you put in perspective, it's like it goes back to how I mentioned. It's you have the younger generation, like the people who brand new, like just emerging and saying, I want to do this. I'm gonna dedicate like time to like doing DJing or production or any kind of art, just anything. Then in the middle of that, you have people where it's like, I've been at it for a minute, kind of like where I'm at. I've been at it for a minute.
Yeah.
I've had people look at me and say legendary, but then they throw that word around too loosely because I look at who else they call legendary, and I'm like, I don't want to be. So sometimes people throw you into this thing of like, you're like, yeah, you a legend. I'm like, I mean, I guess like, I know in my right and what the work I put in. Like, yeah, sure, but then sometimes they just group you in, so I don't necessarily like that. But yeah, I'm in kind of this contemporary space of like I'm actively in the middle of like whether it be industry stuff or just like I'm doing my own thing.
Yeah.
Put out music before, did all of that, so that's like kind of in the middle. Then you have like the OGs, the people that like been on the legendary labels, started legendary labels, ran radio, ran clubs. Like the continuum is essentially it's just like a circle in the sense of as things start to fade out, new things come in, and then they reach that point of like being in the middle. So that's the loop. It's like, and you have to have the youth working with like the contemporaries, working with the OGs, and it has to be synergy.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you really grow things. When you put those three things together, or those three people together, and then you put them in a space where there's an exchange, there's mentorship,
Yeah.
or, sometimes the people that are older, like yes, I will say there's a lot of information and knowing, like speaking with elders, but times change, and the elders have to like look to the youth to be like, okay, well, this is what was going on when I was coming up.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's overlaying, it's like overly true, like yes, this point will cover like several things, but then the kid pulls up and is like, no, actually with social media this is different now. It's kind of like what I was saying with back in my day, like, we had to carry crates of records, and I'm like, yeah, but like most DJs I know, their back is fucked anyway. So it's like, why would you carry this? How do we digitize records? How do we have our music in digital format? That way we are not carrying like tons of, because yes, the vinyl record is important. Like there's a lot of music that was cut to wax that we won't ever see in digital form.
Yeah.
And a kid could look at OG and say, if they grumpy, I don't feel like doing that, I want to carry my records. Sometimes it just be people don't know how.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, let me help you out. Let me do this for you. Let me show you that there's an easier way. I think the same can go both ways. It's like the OGs could look at the youth and be like, no, there's an easier way to do this, and vice versa. And I feel like if you fall in the middle, you're kind of like on both. You got 1 foot over here, 1 foot over there, like you're figuring it out.
Yeah.
But it's refreshing to get like a kid who, quote unquote, doesn't know anything. It's like fresh for them, but then you get a fresh idea.
Yeah.
Whereas the OG is like, they've been at it for a minute. They're rooted and they have like their way and it's intentional. But it's good to be like intentional with like your purpose and what you're doing.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, I've been doing it this way, but that kid has a great idea.
Yeah. So
like, let's link up together. So the continuum, it should just be everybody bouncing ideas off one another. Because when you don't have communication, there becomes gaps.
Yeah.
As far as like the age difference, or just just like the quality. Like I love playing vinyl records because this era of music won't be captured again. And then a kid will be like, well, I could find like 100 songs that sound like that one right now because I understand the internet.
Yeah.
It's just a give and take. It's kind of like mentorship needs to happen. Like DJ Bone has a program. I think this is the best example that I've seen lately. Like DJ Bone has like a mentorship program. I think it's called Further. And yeah, he just provides, it's like him and a few other people, they provide mentorship to like young DJs. It's like, hey, come through, like let's back to back.
Yeah.
Pick your best tunes, I bring my best tunes, and we sit down and we play, and then we have discussion, we have like talks, and it's not necessarily somebody holding your hand, but it's somebody like overlooking, like, hey, here's how to make things tighter, here's how to like that's what I would say. Continuum, it just has to be an exchange.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's just really real. I think, and this is no shade to anyone, but like I'm like you, I'm kind of sat in the middle of it in terms of what we're trying to do here. Some of the best moments at community night are when you just have a room full of people, different age groups, and then everyone remembers that they're just here for the music. I think when it doesn't work, I've seen like a lot of the older DJs like criticize the younger DJs, or just see some stuff that pops up on social media, but that's the kind of side of it which they can just take and like, oh, I don't really like that. But what they maybe don't realize is that some of these younger DJs are like hugely knowledgeable, and because they're in that stage of just being obsessed, they can progress so quickly There's a DJ here, like Loy, and not singling out Loy in particular, but because there's tons of great DJs like Vix and Spencer and people like that. But I've just seen Loy from doing live streams in his bedroom to playing sets in here in RASA, and just the selection and the coherence and like the energy levels and just like a real understanding of like how to be a DJ and what you're doing. And that completely flies in the face of some of these older legendary DJs that we know and love here, who like, yeah, these younger DJs can't hold a room. It's just a bunch of their mates. It's just social media.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's like if it's a matter of like, because my thing is anytime somebody has an issue, I'm kind of like, well, what are you doing to change it?
Yeah,
so,
I love that.
So if you're OG and it's like you don't like the current state of things, don't approach it in the sense of like, well, this is what I can do. And it's like, okay, that's what you're called to do. Because my thing is, right, if you take an OG and put them in a room where it's not catered to them, and you have to fight way harder to like keep that room,
yeah,
they're gonna look and be like, yo, this is not what we into.
Yeah.
That's why. And the same goes for like a younger DJ playing for like a seasoned crowd or whatever. It's like, if you have an issue with like the DJs doing the social media stuff and playing like, oh, well, why is this DJ coming in to play straight bangers? And it's like, that's the room that they want. Like, if someone's like, oh, well, you can't hold a room, I'm like, I promise you, if you change the room, you can't hold that room.
Yeah.
So it's like, I always tell people not to get jaded on those kind of things. Like holding the room, meaning what? Like, you could go and play incredible music. You can play music, I've seen this, you can play music that's incredible and no one in the room will go off, and then the same track will get played in a different room, and not gonna lie, the blends are weaker and it's like the transitions are ass, but it's like, because it was shaped for that room,
yeah,
it's gonna go off in that room. So it's like two sides to it, like double-edged sword. It's like, damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yeah.
I just like look at older DJs and say, if you got an issue with what's going on, that's your job as OG to kind of like pull up and say, well, yo, like instruct. And if you see someone is doing some cool shit and it's working for them, then, you know, don't pull up to change them because it's something you're uncomfortable with. Just do you, or carve out your spaces, do your thing.
Yeah, I love it. I love this phrase, play your position, because it has this kind of awareness to it. Like, so if you're a younger DJ, like how you kind of behave to other people, like understanding that, you know, you like how to kind of ask for things, like to get the opportunities, understand how to kind of show respect, but also get your opportunity. And also the older DJs, like, understand that no one's necessarily going to book you anymore for like some of these bigger shows if you just carry on doing the same things. Like, everything's going to evolve, so you can still get big shows. I still see, you know, I love seeing people like Theo Parrish or like Moody Man, but they're evolving, like they're doing different things. Like, sometimes these DJ, their monikers are changing. Like, I love seeing Fortet. Like, Fortet's just like a massive kind of music geek, but he's an incredible DJ. And then just watching these people evolve, I think, I just love seeing that kind of stuff. So, I don't know, like, what, maybe as we kind of start to wrap up today, you know, like, you've obviously met a lot of people this trip. It feels like things are shifting. You know, we're talking about doing some fun daytime stuff when we move to the studio.
Yep.
Talking about stuff here, RASA. You're talking to people who are really connected in Asia about kind of helping you, I don't know, like, kind of get even more opportunities. Like, what's next for you? Like, what are you excited about at the moment?
I think for me, I'm excited to. It's a bit sad because, again, like, my girl is here, so I'm headed back home. I'm excited to get back to the States and like start picking up. I pretty much have shows from March through May, but in that time, I'm just gonna be working on tours for like Asia, like through the summertime, and there's music that I started making with. I put out a record on Trekkie Tracks. And I collabed with Japanese label. I collabed with this kid, Oyubi, and I love his music. he is a perfect example of like he's a perfect example of like is like he's in his youth, but he understands music so deeply he can approach anything with a sound that's classic, and then he's still able to like make it sound fresh or it's like new to the genre or like whatever he's attempting. But we made a record together, and then while in Japan, when I was like there last, I started some tracks with him and another producer who's even younger than him named Fetus, and he's on the Trekkie Tracks label as well. And this kid's music is incredible. Like, I did the math, and essentially I was listening to his music when he was a teenager.
Wow.
So I meet him now, he's like in his 20s, and I'm like, yo, you would make, because it was a language barrier, so I was like, ask him, I was like, he was making this shit as a teenager, and he was like, yeah. I was like, bro, this is incredible, because like he has that sound that's like, when I listen to it, I'm like, it's like Metalhead's adjacent, like he could easily have a project on there, and I'm like, this shit is so good, but it steps outside of drum and bass. It's like he can do club music, he can do 140 and dubstep and all these different sounds. I was just shocked that he was that young. So, but yeah, I started some tracks with them. I'm already working on like, I want to come back and make some more music with them in Japan. Yeah, like for me on deck is just like more music. I want to start reaching out to people more and doing like more collaborations, because a lot of the music I put out, I release myself. And part of me releasing myself is because when it comes to like labels and stuff, I don't want to release with a label if they can't do more for me than I could myself. I'd rather just keep it internal, especially now, like the way music is valued and a lot of people take advantage of artists. So I like to put my own music out. That's why when people are like, you know, what are the ways to support you? Like we were listening on Spotify. I don't put none of the new projects up on Spotify. Like going forward, none of the new music on Spotify, and I'm working on getting the old stuff taken off. But yeah, like I guess for me, like what's next is I'm just putting out music, gonna do my own thing. Definitely gonna be DJing, doing shows.
Nice.
I know for hopefully everything for Asia, I come back and I'm able to like play some cities that I haven't had a chance to yet. Like, would love to go to Vietnam, Philippines, you know, just like places I haven't played yet, just to like see the vibe and connect with people. But yeah, it's just, as far as what's next for me is music, and wherever it takes me. Yeah.
So you back on the bike. Now we've got that DMB system.
I'm definitely down to get back on the bike with the DMB system and the subwoofer. Also, yeah, not to get caught up on this, but like the fact that I play a club and there's no subwoofer, but then you have a subwoofer on the cargo bike, like a DJ on the bicycle with a subwoofer, but then there's a club that like no subwoofer, but they got reposado and $1,000 steaks, but no subwoofer is kind of crazy to me.
Okay. Well, we've got DMB supporting
Shout
us.
out DMB. Actually, DMB, I'm gonna send when this go live. I'm gonna send them the club that I'm talking about. Please put a subwoofer over there.
Yes, we'll tag them in, and also shout out to Leod, because you were dropping Leod tracks at that last. That last cargo bike. I had the best. What people don't realize is, although the bike is heavy, especially with you and I in that bike and all the speakers and stuff, like that thing is a beast. But I had the best seat in the house. I know the last cargo bike, you were like taking pictures because the scene is unbelievable when you're like.
Oh yeah, I posted video and people were like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm DJing on a bicycle, and they were like, where? And I'm like, we're literally just biking around Singapore, and it's a vibe. There's other people biking with us. There was one point we biked past, and it was another group of people. I think it was like some kind of biking group.
Yeah.
It's like 100 of them. They all started clapping and shit. It was so funny. But yeah, it was cool to like do that, especially, you know, rolling around. People had no idea who I was, and it was just nice to like just incognito, just biking around playing tracks.
And a fun
Yeah.
hangout afterwards as well.
Yeah, vibes afterwards. Was Chimmy's?
Yeah, shout out Jimmy's.
Yeah, shout to them. I went to the other location. Forget where it's at exactly. It's like super big mall
Yeah, they
area.
got Vivo City.
Yeah.
They got a few. So we're not Jimmy's this weekend. They're going to have a new location, but they've been a huge support and always a fun vibe.
Yeah.
Well, look, should we wrap it up? So thank you. Thanks for everything you do. It's been super great getting to know you the last few years, and I'm like really excited for your projects.
Yeah, for
And
sure. Likewise.
Also really excited about this year. I think some of the things we've been talking about are finally going to take off. We've got a bit more time to get it done.
Yeah. I mean, like, based off of what you told me, and again, it's like, I have no worries, like, because you understand, like, I mean, we spoke on it, but, like, you understand what's good. It's like, you know, you tapped in with the youth, you tapped in with, like, what's happening now, you tapped in with the OGs, and you can speak to them, and you understand what it takes to put into a space, to have it facilitate and work for all three levels of people. It's just a matter of like growing it to get like the resources you need and stuff, and then you put that together, you'll be cool.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of support. So thanks everyone, and yeah, I'm really excited. So Pearl 3 is going to be a vibe.
Yes.
Pearl 4 on the horizon already, but yeah, we're going to have a lot of fun this year. So yeah, see you soon. Safe travels.
Cool.
All right, thanks everyone.
Later, y'all.